Okay, hello everyone. George Webb here at the Swing State Newsroom. I'm with Addy Ads, and I am with a lot of other great folks here tonight. We're going to be talking about pipelines. There's the great Aaron Adler, and of course Mark Buckley.
Hi there.
Who is a petroleum expert here in Toledo area, and then of course we have Andy over there. And what we're going to say, we're going to cut to the chase really quickly. It's this Hunter Biden. We're looking at these Hunter Biden partners, and the Hunter Biden partners all seem to be buying. The Hunter Biden partners all seem to be buying real estate along this old Rockefeller. We look at, here he is. His name is Bob Ulinsky. He is living here in Toledo, right? And then we have this guy, Bevan Cooney, who's in prison. He wasn't here in Bay City in Michigan, and they just moved him to Oregon. So I just
Perrysburg. He lived on Fifth
he was in Perrysburg, and Perrysburg is
2011.
on this pipeline route. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark because Mark's an expert. He knows all about this stuff. Mark Buckley, talk to me about the old Rockefeller Standard Oil
I just
pipeline.
remember because when I grew up in Toledo, we used to have what they called the backside of the Toledo Terminal Railroad. And there used to be signs along there identifying with the old Ohio symbol. There was a pipeline underneath, the railroad adjacent to the tracks here along this right of way. And it had a telephone number on it that you should call, before you dug or anything like that.
But this is the Rockefeller Standard Oil pipeline.
Yeah, I'm thinking it started probably from the old, in fact, there's still active refinery over in Oregon, and it ran along the right of way and it came down through South Toledo. A lot of the track has been abandoned, okay, but the right of way has been maintained as a bike trail. Well, now, if there's a pipeline there, you've got to keep this right of way active. And then the metro parks seems like they've required a lot of this. And I'm like, well, the metro parks, are you involved? So I'm curious if the Toledo Lucas County metro parks is involved, somehow, or getting revenue or some
They
of
are
these
strategically sprinkled all
But
through that
I
line
want
there,
to
for sure.
emphasize this isn't an academic exercise. Hunter Biden's partners are buying property along this thing.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to identify for people.
No, I'm
Where it
coming.
is,
It's coming back to you, but I'm just saying that Hunter Biden's partners, Bevan Cooney, the guy in prison now, is buying land along this pipeline, the old Rockefeller Standard Oil pipeline, and also Bob Ulinsky, this guy who's Trump's debate guy. So remember, when Mark is talking about this, he's not talking about something academic. He's talking about something right now. People that are doing press releases at the debates.
Yeah, and this bike trail runs, through Toledo. There used to be a bridge used to run next to the turnpike that crossed the Maumee River,
and we filmed it yesterday. We filmed it. Where they're digging the new pipeline.
And to keep that going. So I'm going down to Marathon. So I just
down to Marathon and Findlay.
Right.
There's a refinery there as well, Findlay, with Marathon Oil.
Yeah, and Marathon.
Well, there's an intermodal transportation center down there too, where the trucks and the trains.
North Baltimore, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like,
Yes, yeah.
Mr. Warren Buffett's favorite train center for shipping oil, right?
But it surprised me is like how this is all just kind of going on underneath. Nobody seems to be talking about
this. Is why we did not do anything on Toenail Gate or whatever that hell that thing is called with Hunter Biden. We did not do a story on that. We did a story on these pipelines. We showed a picture of the pipeline and we showed a picture of the digging. That's why we got zapped. I mean, it's not because of Toenail Gate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So there's a lot going on, with what's going through these pipelines, or is there another pipeline? I mean, because it's like, you maintain this right away. It's just,
it's fishy.
It's fishy too.
I mean, what's going on here? I mean, the park is now the park police and everything. Yeah. It's along the same route as the old Standard Oil Rockefeller pipeline.
And Well,
doesn't it seem like these are proxies that have just been placed in as front people now?
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're using metro parks and port authorities, taxing agencies that exist through property tax levies to,
But these are just front things, right?
But they seem to run through those
Pretty quickly.
organizations, to get themselves into business, into businesses we don't know anything about.
But here the key is if I can show you, let's say I had a small reactor, a little coffee maker, and I could heat up a bunch of oil and gas, and I could show you fracking, I could show you an oil pipeline, in a small microcosm. Hey, Belt and Road. Hey, China, we could do this all along your transcontinental pipeline. We could do this 500 times. We could have 500 of these little small reactors. Maybe that's why Warren Buffett is buying the uranium in Kazakhstan. I don't know. Addy, what do you think? I mean, here's the great Addy ads here.
Yeah, George Webb, late night. Here we are, broadcast. George Webb, Mark Buckley, and Aaron Adler.
Say George Webb one more time, just so I can get George Webb in there.
George Webb is in the building with me right now. We're here at the Swing State Studios, and Aaron Adler is holding it down for us. He's a staple here. We won't be here without him.
But what do you think about this
lovely
thing with
guest,
Hunter Biden?
Mark Buckley. Hunter Biden, I guess they're leaking pictures out every single day from this laptop. And I do want to give a shout out to this computer laptop repair owner who kind of just said F it to the FBI and basically released this information to us. This man is a patriot. I don't know who you are, but you don't trust the FBI. And because of that, I think you are seeing things a little more clearly than a lot of people are. And we wouldn't have this information about Hunter Biden without this man releasing this information via the repair shot. So I wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say that I'm going to keep all my videos with George Webb on my channel. I'm going out with my bootstraps on like JFK. I don't know what the picture is right now. It looks like it got moved, but we have a picture of JFK in here.
Around the building.
It's somewhere in this building. We have a painting of JFK. So I'm with my main man George Webb here, and if they ban me, they ban me, guys. I realized I went on a walk today with Andy, and I said I was gonna censor myself. I was gonna delete videos with George Webb. I thought it was a good strategic move at the time. I think it was fear that was talking, and what we have to do is we have to trust the process. We have to realize that YouTube is losing. They're digging in. All these people, they're digging in, and they're what they're trying to do. There's JFK.
All right. Yeah, sure.
There he is. He wasn't perfect, but he did his best, and he went out with his boots on for the Constitution. As far as I can tell, this deep state, Dulles brothers, they whacked him, and that's what happened. So let's get back to the pipelines.
Yeah.
And I want to say one thing too, George, about pipelines. We just got finished watching Mark Kulak and Ryan Dawson. Mark Kulak, I think, is still going on.
Might still be going.
Still going on. Got him on in the background. So shout out to Mark Kulak. He's one of my Patreons, one of my supporters. I want to give a big shout out to Housatonic Live. People, go and subscribe to Housatonic Live. And Ryan Dawson is a total boss, Jedi Master, and he blows my mind. And
we want to
somewhat regularly, and we do. I want to, Ryan. I want you to talk to George, and I want to moderate. And you got to give me a chance here as a moderator. I want you guys to talk about things and get this dialectical approach to understanding and debate going. And I think it would be great. I think you guys are both awesome Jedi Masters in and of your own work. It stands alone. It's really, the work speaks for itself, as I like to say.
All right.
So pipelines. Ryan Dawson. He made a video talking, I think it was his, I don't know what video it was, but he talks about the importance of pipelines and how, if you haven't learned this, every country who has a pipeline running through it benefits from the flow of resources that are passing through its borders. And a lot of people don't realize this, or they do the kind of classic liberal thing where they say, or whatever, just kind of oversimplify it as, oh, it's all for oil. Oil is a big part of it, and it's the main part of it in many ways, but it's not the only part of it. So I want to give a shout out to Ryan for teaching me that and teaching others that too about pipelines. But George went, I think it was 2 days ago now, or so Friday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
We went down there to the actual place. I mean, we're not dealing with something in 1959. We're dealing something right now with our guy, Bubalinski or Bob Ulinsky. We're dealing right now with Bevan Cooney.
And that video, it's got 2 million views now on Fox Business. It was posted 2 days ago, 1 million views a day. So people are watching it. They're aware, and they're releasing these photos. I'm seeing on my Twitter. I had to block them from Aaron's kids earlier today because they're kind of graphic. But the truth. It's what matters.
And we're not trying to do anything with toenail gate or red shoe polish gate or whatever the hell that is. We're not doing that. We're saying, hey, Bob Ulinsky is in Toledo for some reason on these Rockefeller pipelines. We're saying that Bevan Cooney, who's in prison right now, is buying property along these Toledo pipelines.
And he just got moved into protective custody a couple days ago
in Oregon.
Why would they do that? Another thing,
keep him away from us, right?
Do you know something that
Here's
it
Mark
makes
Buckley.
me think back now that pipeline construction isn't about like digging a trench and putting a pipe in, like, once upon a time you do it. They're real sophisticated now, where they start at one end and go down with like a truck will pull up and they'll just go down. And it's like they'll snake through the ground, okay, real intrusively. And then they'll be at the other end where they'll pull it up and just like suck it through the ground.
So you can be surreptitious about this. You can covertly.
Oh, yeah, we're replacing the gas lines in your neighborhood. And you see this big, huge plastic pipe that's being put in through your neighborhood that's like this big around. Well, that's a lot, that's.
So most people don't realize that Toledo, the reason why it's the glass capital is because they had all this natural gas and this energy. And it was called egg water.
Yeah.
Because it had that sulfuric smell to it because there was so much methane, extra methane. And this is why these guys are here. This is why Bob Ulinsky is here. This is why Bevan Cooney is here. And nobody's talking about this.
And
but
the metro parks are closing down all this egg water land, and turning it into parks so it can't be developed. Even right
sounds like a Rockefeller plan.
That is like, oh, you can't be against parks. We're not against parks, but it's like, well, why are you putting a park in the Port of Toledo?
Right.
Unless that's a pipeline project.
And I want to say, John, I
Hold on.
hid your content or your comment, but I just made you a moderator. So shout out to John Lachlan.
John Lachlan, great.
He's tuning in. He's a moderator now. So
great. Well, Aaron just put up. I mean, everything happens dynamically here at the Neighborhood News Hour. There is.
It's an old one. We might do a different Ohio.
We're gonna do a different.
I should have my notebook out like Addy and be a better student. Do you think Bob Ulinsky moved himself here? Do you think Bevan Cooney moved himself here? Do you think they were told to move here?
Well, Bob Ulinsky was here in 2001, but Bevan Cooney was here 2010 to 2020. Rachel, and this is maybe why I got in trouble with YouTube. Rachel is still here in Bowling Green, and as Mark said, these very liberal schools are bastions of doing things like putting small reactors in to do this coffee maker type thing. A coffee maker, you make the hot water, you inject the hot water, you get the gas, you get the oil, and that's all there is to it. I mean, this could be a proving ground right here where we are. We took you yesterday down and showed you.
We smell it done deep.
We showed you the pipeline being dug yesterday. We showed you the pipeline being dug yesterday. So Mark is actually. This is not speculation. We showed you this is not tangential. It's not red shoe polish. This is the Bevan Cooney, whose 2,600 emails or however many emails it is, 26,000 or whatever it is, in Bannon's email trove. That's what we're talking about. So wouldn't you want to understand that he's from New Zealand? Wouldn't you want to understand that his sister Rachel is in Bowling Green, wouldn't you want to understand that they were acquiring this land along this old Rockefeller pipeline route? Wouldn't you want to understand that they were trying to build a model that then they could sell to the CCP to make this Belt and Road, sort of transcontinental railroad across China with all these stations, intermittent stations along the way? Wouldn't you want to understand that this is the part that's unbelievable to me, that nobody wants to understand the actual people that are involved in the metadata. Metadata network analysis is not conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So go ahead. I mean, you're talking about actual pipelines. You know these pipelines.
I know where they're at and like where they go.
Not speculation.
Right.
You traced out with me on a map tonight exactly where these pipelines were.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the Metro Park Police are following you as you're.
Well, it's just like I just kind of now seeing it's just another way to fleece a blue area.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Biden, well, sure, he'd be welcome here because it's like Toledo's been for sale politically,
Right.
probably for 40 years. And it's like, it's a wonderful place if you work for the government.
Yeah. So I think, Aaron, I don't know if we have a lot more. We're not going to try to hold the audience or anything like that. We want people to get back to Mark Kulak, but we
Oh, you're teasing me here.
no, we just
We're
wanted
about to crack the nut, baby.
Go ahead.
We are about to crack the nut.
What did we miss? What did we miss?
We need to explain to our audience and the world how all of this connects to Joe Biden, what it teaches us about Joe Biden and who owns Joe Biden and why that's important. We are minutes from midnight.
But same thing. Who owns Toledo?
That's cool.
Well,
Toledo ain't running for president in a couple hours.
So I had this guy actually tell this to me, and he held the BlackBerry up, and he said this is what it was. The Senate BlackBerries were energy BlackBerries, a deal between Russia and China. The House BlackBerries, the Imran Awan BlackBerries, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz BlackBerries, were covert action BlackBerries. They were Syria, Sudan, Yemen, Libya, Iran nuclear deal, and I'm going to rewrite this book now. The channel has been taken away. I can't give it to you for free now. I'm going to rewrite it because the two guys who told me this are being proven right every day by the metadata. We had Deep BlackBerry telling me this: the Senate BlackBerries were energy, the House BlackBerries were covert action, and then Deep Uranium was saying, hey, every so often on intervals, stations were small reactors. And that's why he called him Deep Uranium and not Deep Coal or Deep whatever,
Okay.
So go ahead, Addy.
Addy, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, Aaron just wrote, what does this teach us about who owns Joe Biden? Election is sub 10 days. So, this is what they're doing. You got this huge influx of YouTube censorship, channels getting getting axed. It's interesting seeing who's getting their channels eliminated and who's not. And if you
talk about pipelines, if you talk about Biden and pipelines, you get axed.
Yeah, that's what we've noticed. And for whatever reason, I'm still up, and I thought it would be worth it to delete George from my channel, but that's not happening. We're trying to get the truth out here, people, and we got Aaron here, Andy, he's working always, and Mr. Buckley here. So it's something we're trying to contribute as a team effort, really.
Yeah, it's very good. Aaron, your last word.
Shouldn't have got me started.
I got him
It
started.
was either you or John who said it more than once, right? What's your favorite line in Patton? It's always an audience.
I read your book.
I read your book, Rommel. All right, you do it and John both do it. Though I think I've heard both of you guys do the Rommel line. That's not my favorite line.
My favorite one is when he got at the end there when he's talking about the Bolsheviks on the right.
He was ready to attack.
I'll turn them around and kick their ass. They started it.
My favorite line in Patton.
The carts.
The carts. You know the carts? Addy probably doesn't know what we're talking about. You know the cart scene in
I'm
Patton?
not gonna lie. I started watching.
This is
it
where he almost got killed by a
once,
cart.
and
I
I
think.
fell asleep. But what book they're referencing is Attacks
Movie.
by Erwin Rommel, who's a field marshal for the Wehrmacht during World War II. Attacks, or also called Infantry Attacks. It's a classic in military strategy.
Right.
And George Patton apparently read it cover to cover so many times that he had it memorized by heart.
And the famous battle was the Kasserine Pass, where he said, "I read your book, you son of a bitch. And that's why I beat you at the Kasserine Pass."
The carts. And it's
But
just
the
'cause
carts
I
is
just-
what we're going to talk about right now, because why was the carts important,
the
right?
Russian. I
And he
just
sees
read
it in a
Russian
dream.
history. I said it a Russian history.
And they ran out of oil, right? And we've got the Battle of the Bulge, right? That was right at the end of the war,
Right.
I believe, the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah,
Bastogne.
which was
but
which was like, hey guys, we're about out of oil. There's going to be one more go at this thing, and we're going to put all the oil in, and we're going to go, right? And then they ran out of oil, and then they had the carts. And when Patton saw the carts, Patton knew that it was time.
the carts.
And everybody's learned their lesson throughout history.
The carts
right?
came from the French Revolution, because that was Napoleon's retreat from Russia. They had nothing left. They loaded up what they had and took in carts and went back to France in the middle of the winter. Okay.
And that's just
And most of them died on the way back.
And that's just a not so long ago history lesson, so that everybody remembers that the courses of history are sculpted by energy, and energy.
Fuel.
Whether it's horses, whether it's ships, whether it's gas, right? And now uranium in these rods, these nuclear rods, are the most incredible energy that has ever existed. They're better than all the energy that's ever been there combined, right?
I was
And so-
sleeping like I think it was yesterday, and I just wake up to Aaron going, "Dark weapons and energy, Jeff Epstein. Dark weapons and energy." That's what happened, people.
That's what it's like in this place behind the scenes.
Well, of course, energy, because when you figure look at Odessa. I mean, that's like about the same level as Minneapolis. Okay. And so, I mean, that's cold up there. All of that is cold. They need energy to survive. The big
Joe
time.
Biden is owned by dark energy traders. We could name you many of them, couldn't we, George? Mark Rich is a favorite household name. George
Arden.
Webb, every time I watch him, comes up with various names of dark energy, which often the energy turns into weapons, and then often it turns into drugs, and then it often turns into 14-year-old Ukrainian girls with high cheekbones. But it's energy pipelines, networks, connections that run the show,
What
that
about-
have always run the show. Okay. And just so for our time and space, our generation, right, we've got a pretty specific crew in Ukraine, the White Russian guys who have linked up with the Columbus, Ohio, and New Orleans cabalic groups here in America, which are also easily identifiable. And the fact that these people own Joe Biden and put his child to work for them, put his child's friends to work for them, is a pretty obvious thing now.
Yeah.
It's really obvious thing. And this isn't to say that like I hate Joe Biden or I'm mad at Joe Biden. Frankly, in terms of our two candidates, I have no doubt that Joe Biden is a more swell guy than Donald. If, we're here at the charrette, everybody's helping out, cooking, cleaning bowls and putting things away and helping each other. I would expect that, Joe would be a fine guy to hang out with here at the charrette, and we'd all have a good time together. Okay? And he might be more fun than Donald. We might have to pick plates up for Donald Trump. He may not know how to even pick up his own plates and clean up after himself. That doesn't exclude the fact that we are very clearly on track that Joe Biden and his son's friends are owned very clearly by the Mark Rich dark weapons cabal of energy traders, and them being here in Ohio to use, those developmental homes, those homes you'll go by where it's like, hey, here's the
Model home.
model home, right? Oh, come in. This is, we can build a home just like this for you, right? Come over to Ohio, right?
Toledo.
We got the worship center here, right in the middle of the highway for you. We're gonna have a great procession. It's gonna be a great time. We're gonna bring you up and down, and we're gonna show you how this old obsolete pipeline that couldn't do a thing, all we had to do was pipe this little rod right in here, and it goes boom, 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 boom. And where it used to cost $2 quadrillion and all this time and money, all we need is one little rod, and we put it in here, and we've brought Perrysburg back to life. We've brought Toledo back to life. We got a line going up from here, there, and everywhere that can do whatever you need to do, right? And this is the cell. This is the IP3 cell. And these guys are here making the IP3 cell. And it was finally time to send Flynn on the road, and they sent Flynn on the road. Am I missing anything?
No. And when the channel got shut down is when I was at the end of the line. I went to Toledo Refining this morning. I uploaded a video at Toledo Refining saying, hey, this is the end of the line of the Hunter Biden partner, which was Bevan Cooney. And I said, this is the end of the line. And literally I had it uploaded about 2 minutes, and then the video was killed. So Addy, your final thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to, let everybody know we're trying to, today was a reorientation day for sure. It was a little tougher than the other days we've had just because we lost the channel. And we, kind of feels like we lost some work for sure. But we have the backups of the video and
the podcast.
Yeah, and the audio files as well for the podcast. I want to give one more shout out to McDuff, Holy Toledo, Kennedy's man to smash the CIA. Please go and give McDuff a subscription. My subscribers, anybody who doesn't know who John is, go check his work out. Lots of George over there too, and lots more George to be seen on my channel as well. Until they axe me, which almost seems inevitable. But hey, we're in this for the long haul, I guess. Insofar as
went to,
we're not going to. Yeah,
I want to tell a quick story. We went over to the Ford Museum and in Dearborn, and we saw the Lincoln Continental where JFK had his brain splattered around. And I think Addy, you quite rightly said, hey, GW, he that's like JFK. You're gonna attract fire, and you don't want to have your brain splattered along with me, right? But then you said, well, I'm in the limo. I'm in the limo now. I don't.
We're in the Continental. We're going out with our boots on, and we're going out in style. So
there's no backing off now for
Addy.
Addy.
That's the way it's gonna be.
He's in the Continental. The Kennedy headshot. It's gonna blow his brains all over the Lincoln like me, and I love it. I love to see that kind of commitment.
It'll probably be a NATO cartridge.
NATO cartridge, and everyone's talking about how fast you type and that you're a NATO spy, and that you're a cryptographer. You've never been a NATO cryptographer. You've never worked as a spy.
I wouldn't be here with you today if I got offered the job, George.
Okay. All right. So I just want to let everybody know that even though he types 188 words a minute and in 8 languages, it's a little suspicious, but don't let that bother you. Trust Addy. Thanks, everybody. Get back to Housatonic. But I'm just saying they're buying. This is the key. They're buying the Bevan Cooney, they're buying the old Rockefeller pipeline. Why? They're doing something. They're showing how that small reactor will make the coffee, will make the frack, and it'll make it profitable. And how many of these little small modulars are they selling? 500, 200? I don't know.
And why would YouTube axe an account with 3,000 subscribers?
And we didn't do anything on the toenails. No toenails. No
simple question.
Yeah,
it's a simple question.
Yeah, no toenails. We didn't cover the toenails. We just talked about
no nail polish.
My last
maybe
video,
a little bit of nail polish.
No. My last video was at the Toledo refinery saying, "Hey, this is the end of the line for the Rockefeller pipeline." So that's where we got axed. Thank you.
Stay frosty, folks.
Thank you to Addy. Thank you to, of course, Aaron Adler, the big cheese here. Thank you to Mark Buckley, our local expert on Unholy Toledo. Thank you, JFK, for being our inspiration.
Yes.
And thank you to Andy for being the great
the ring.
kiss for the great technical expert. Let's get back to Mark Husatonic. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Good night.